In the ancient world, few civilizations were as feared as the Assyrians. Their name struck terror across the ancient Near East. The Assyrian Empire was not just powerful, it was brutal. Their military campaigns were marked by violence and ruthlessness. They became known for their iron-fisted rule, and their tactics were designed to strike fear into their enemies. But behind the brutality lay an empire of innovation, where military technology, architectural feats, and a centralized system of administration created one of the most efficient empires the world had ever seen. The Assyrians rose to power in the 9th century BCE, under the leadership of Tiglath-Pileser III. They built a powerful army that used iron weapons, advanced siege warfare, and chariotry, making them one of the first empires to dominate by sheer military force. The Assyrians were not just conquerors, they were innovators. They created the first organized professional army in history, with well-trained soldiers, engineers, and even psychological warfare. Their army was the backbone of the empire's strength, and it was structured in a way that allowed them to strike quickly and effectively. Chariots, siege machines, and even armored troops made them a terrifying presence on the battlefield. But they didn't just conquer. They also built. The Assyrians were exceptional architects, creating massive palaces, temples, and aqueducts. Their capital, Nineveh, became one of the largest and most sophisticated cities of its time. The Palace of Sennacherib was a marvel of its age, complete with gardens, irrigation systems, and detailed carvings that told stories of their military conquests. The Assyrian kings also ruled with a strict and centralized administration. They established an efficient bureaucracy, ensuring that taxes were collected, territories were managed, and the army was always ready for war. They were known for their inscriptions, which recorded their victories and the suffering they inflicted on their enemies. But what made the Assyrians so feared wasn't just their military power, it was their brutality. They employed psychological warfare to break the spirit of those they conquered. Entire cities were razed to the ground. Mass executions and mass deportations were common, as the Assyrians sought to break the will of those who resisted. Their violent punishments were often recorded in great detail, and these stories spread fear throughout the ancient world. Yet, the very brutality that built their empire also led to its downfall. The Assyrians made countless enemies. Resentment simmered for centuries among the peoples they had conquered. Finally, in 612 BCE, a coalition of their enemies, led by the Babylonians and the Medes, rose up in a massive rebellion. They besieged the great city of Nineveh, and after a long and bloody battle, the capital fell. The Assyrian Empire, once the most feared power in the world, collapsed. Its great cities were destroyed, its palaces were burned, and its people were scattered. For centuries, the Assyrians were remembered only for their cruelty. But their legacy is far more complex. Their innovations in military organization, administration, and engineering laid the groundwork for future empires, including the Persians and the Romans. The Assyrians teach us that empires built on fear may rise quickly, but they often fall just as fast, leaving behind a legacy of both terror and innovation.